Hey guys, and welcome to the Ban Rants channel, your home for NFL predictions, analysis, and of course your periodic rant. And in this video we're going to be doing the first of two videos featuring the AFC South predictions for 2020. This video will feature the predictions for the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. Normally we do the division winner, which we know was the Houston Texans last year, but we're going to do things a little bit differently. And I'm going to break the rules because of the Titans' impressive playoff run. I think that would sort of trump the Texans' division win. So if you like the video, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Enjoy the clip. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the Tennessee Titans predictions first. So if we look at the schedule, they start off in Denver on a Monday night. Now, I do have the Titans taking a loss here, but this is not going to be a one-sided game. And this is also a game that I do believe the Titans can flip. For right now, I just like the Denver Broncos defense a little bit more than I like the Titans defense. Just a little bit. And I do think Jarrell Casey's going to have a little something to prove against his former team in Week 1. And Week 2 at home against the Jaguars, this is going to be a game that the Titans do take the win in this game as well. The Jaguars usually do play the Titans pretty tough, but the Titans have gotten the better of this division rivalry the last couple of years. At the Minnesota Vikings, this is actually a toss-up game, believe it or not, much like Denver was. I do think that the Vikings defense is hurting a little bit with losing Everson Griffin and losing the players that they did. So I do think this is a game that really Derrick Henry could potentially flip. So I'm going to give the Titans sort of the benefit of the doubt here. This is also a game that is not a given, so the Vikings could flip this one, but for now I do have the Titans taking the win. At home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, this one's going to be a little bit tough because the Steelers' defense has gotten a lot better over the last couple of years, and this is probably going to be one of their toughest defensive showings at home that they have for the season, even tougher than Denver. So I do have the Steelers winning this one here. I do think the Titans, little spoiler alert, I think they're going to be a very middle-of-the-pack, lame duck record as far as wins and losses go, but I don't base it off that. We saw what they did last year. Home against the Bills, this is a game that the Titans are going to have probably some trouble with, but if Derrick Henry can do what Derrick Henry usually does, then I don't see this being a game the Titans have trouble with. So I'm going to give the Titans the win here. I do think this is a game the Bills can also flip. At home against the Texans. Now this is an interesting one. The Texans are usually a team that Titans would be afraid of to play, especially on offense. But not to hop on the DeAndre Hopkins is gone bandwagon, but DeAndre Hopkins is gone. And if you look at the Texans line, you take J.J. Watt out, and it's really just a bunch of guys that are not really top of the line of what defenses usually consist of when they're in the top 10 in the league. So I think the Titans will also take this one. Then they come off the bye week and they go into Cincinnati. I know that the Bengals offense has gotten a lot better, but I think the Titans will take that one pretty easily. As improved as the Bengals might be, even if it's by a little bit, the Titans will be fine. At home against the Bears, this is actually a game that I think is going to be a very low-scoring game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points put up. I think that Khalil Mack is going to have Derrick Henry's number, but I do think that the Titans are going to have maybe a slight victory. I'm talking 3 or 4 points, but I will give them the win. At home against the Colts this is actually going to be where things get a little bit trickier the next few weeks. This is a game that I actually do have the Titans losing. The reason for that is I do think the Titans are not going to go undefeated at home, and they've already lost one to the Steelers. I can see the Colts surprising the Titans. This is Philip Rivers playing on the Colts for the first time and playing against the Titans as a Colt for the first time. This could be a shootout, and it could go Philip Rivers' way. At Baltimore, this was a game that the Ravens were projected to win by quite a bit, and they didn't. This is a revenge game for the Ravens, and we've seen in revenge games the last couple of years, usually the team that is seeking the revenge gets the benefit of the doubt, and it will be no different this year. The Ravens will get the win that they were projected to get in the playoffs last year. At the Colts is a game that is going to be very, very close, and I do have the Titans taking this one, but this is also a game the Colts can flip. I will give one thing for sure. I think Derrick Henry will at least take one of these. Which one it is, at home or on the road, that's anybody's guess, but I'll give him down the line a bounce back from a 2-game losing streak. At home against the Browns, this is a game that's going to be defined by running backs. You have the Browns running backs, you have Derrick Henry, and it's really just a matter of which running back is going to do it better. And there's really no one that does it better right now than Derrick Henry, except for maybe you could argue a couple like Ezekiel Elliott or others, but Derrick Henry is doing it better than anyone right now. So I'm going to give him the win there. At the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be an upset loss. Now, you're probably looking at this and saying, you know what? How could that happen? Well, here's the thing. I never underestimate a divisional rivalry. Even though the Titans, as I've said earlier, have gotten the better of the Jaguars, I just see the Jaguars really playing for pride at this point. I don't really see them being a playoff contender. And this game is more about, divisional hatred than anything, and I believe in that. So at home against the Lions, I do think the Titans will bounce back and take this one. Now, you're probably wondering, why the Lions, not the Jaguars? Well, the Lions, as good as their offense is, I think the Titans will be better prepared to take on the Lions' offense than to take on Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville is not as good as the Lions are right now on paper, and I think the Titans know that. So now at the Green Bay Packers on a Sunday night, and this game, based on this, I don't think it will get flexed out. The Packers will win this one, and the Titans will be at 9-6. At the Houston Texans, this is a game that really could go either way once again, just like this first one. But I do not see the Titans, despite what I have, the problems I have with the Texans, I do not see a series sweep coming this time. I see the Texans splitting the series and taking the win, and the Titans finishing at 9-7 once again. Now, whether or not that leads to a division title is really anybody's guess. And there's a couple of games they could flip. They could flip, like I said, they could flip that Jaguars game, but I'm not going to really bet on a season sweep. They could flip a couple of games going the other way. They could lose to the, they could flip that Broncos game, but they might lose that Bills game. So it could go either way. Now we're going to get started with the Indianapolis Colts. So as you can see, they're 2-1 according to what I have for them so far. So at Jacksonville, this is going to be a Phillip Rivers win. Oops, there we go. That's a game I can see. I don't see Phillip Rivers losing his debut, even if it's in unfamiliar territory with an unfamiliar team and an unfamiliar everything, really. This is a game I do not see Phillip Rivers having trouble with. However, Week 2, hosting the Minnesota Vikings, this one could be a different story. We don't know Dalvin Cook's status, if Dalvin Cook is going to sit out the parts of the season, if the Vikings will pay him. We don't know the story there, and I'm not going to have that be my be-all, end-all, but it's just an interesting fact. However, I do still think that the Vikings have better wide receiver options right now than the Colts do, and on defense, it's really equal. So I'm going to give the nod to Minnesota. At home against the New York Jets, this will be a game Phillip Rivers will bounce back and win. At the Bears, this one's a really tough one to call, and this is a game that I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and give the Colts the win. This is also a game that I do believe Chicago could flip if their defense has a great showing. At the Browns is a Colts win. This is a game the Browns could flip if Baker Mayfield has a great day and Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry just do what they do best. That's a game the Browns can flip. But for right now, if I'm going by just quarterbacks alone, I'm taking Phillip Rivers any day of the week. At home against the Bengals, this one is going to be an upset loss. And the reason I'm giving an upset loss here is because, again, I really don't think a lot of teams are going to be looking at the Bengals. Last place schedule, beginning of a rebuild. This is a game that the Colts will get caught off guard. Then they go into their bye week. And at the Lions, as tricky as this might be, and this is going to be a close game for all the wrong reasons. It's going to be a close game because I don't think that really either defense will do a great job, but I also don't think either offense is going to do a good job either. I think it's going to be like a 21 to 18 or something like that. I don't think either team is going to surpass 21 in this game, so Indianapolis will take the win for those kinds of reasons. And at home against the Baltimore Ravens, who are coming off of the bye. This is actually a game that when the schedule opponents were first shown, this is a game that I had the Colts possibly flipping. But with the Ravens coming off the bye, I'm not seeing it. If they weren't, I'd be more inclined to lean towards the Colts, but my feeling on teams off the bye is that's when they're most dangerous in most cases. At the Titans, I've already covered that, is a win. At home against the Packers, Devin Funchess going up against his former team for, I think, all of 2 games with the Colts he spent last year. So I think this is going to be a game that's going to be really a 28-28 sort of shootout. So this actually could be a game that goes overtime, and you're hearing it first. It might not, but it could. And at home, I'm going to give the Colts the upset win. And then they're going to drop at the home against the Titans. At the Houston Texans, and they face the Texans twice in a matter of 3 weeks. I have them splitting the series. I have them winning at home and losing on the road. And believe it or not, it's interesting to see them go 6-0 up until that game on the road. Believe it or not, and winning at Las Vegas. That's an interesting way to look at it, but their road schedule really isn't that difficult, other than your the Chicago game and then your divisional opponents, and coming off the bye against the Lions. It's really not that difficult. But this is where the things get a little bit unhinged. At the Pittsburgh Steelers, I do have as a loss. It's the Steel City. Pittsburgh's defense is really good, and I think down the line they're going to be playing for a lot more than the Colts could be playing for at that point. And I'm not saying the Colts will be out of it, but the Steelers could have a chance at a higher seed than Indianapolis does. And at home against the Jaguars, now, this game has all kinds of measures with it. Now, let's just play devil's advocate. If the Colts were to lose this game, they would lose I believe it's a head-to-head tiebreaker, or division percentage, common percentage. They would lose that out. But if the Colts were to flip this game, which I do believe they will, then they would be at 10-6, which I think is fair at this point for the Colts. I'm not going to sit here and say that's going to be 100% yes, but I think that's pretty fair when you look at who they're facing, when you look at what I've got for them. I think 4-4 is pretty fair at home. I think that's 6-2 is pretty generous on the road, considering their opponents. So that's the first half. I've got the Colts at 10-6, the Titans at 9-7. Stay tuned for part 2 and see how the Texans and Jaguars finish. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.